In this video, we're going to demonstrate a press check. The purpose of a press check is to confirm the status of your chamber. If you want your gun empty, this will confirm for you that the chamber is empty. If you want your chamber loaded, this will confirm for you that the chamber is loaded. So this is the technique we use to ensure that our gun is in the condition that we want it in. So to do the press check, the support side hand pinches the steel at the front. So you can see here how she's pinching the steel between the tip of her thumb and the tip of her fingers. And she is then going to pull the slide to the rear against the web of her hand. So you can see there how her non-shooting hand, her left hand, is doing half the work and starting to pull that slide to the rear. So your non-shooting hand does half the work. Your shooting hand does the other half of the work. And the way that the shooting hand helps is you take all four fingers off the gun. You crab claw so they're all together. You're not trying to hold on to the gun with those fingers. And the tip of that pointer finger comes back against the edge of the ejection port and pulls it to the rear. When that gets pulled open, the shooter can then physically feel and visually see the status of the chamber. In this case, the gun is empty. So again, we're going to put that all together. She's going to grasp the steel at the front and make a crab claw with her shooting hand, pull back on the ejection port with the tip of her finger, and now she has both physically and visually confirmed that her chamber is empty. She then pulls out her finger and lets the slide snap closed. We see common mistakes with the press check in three areas. First, at the front of the gun, people will either, go ahead, try to pinch the steel and the plastic together. We're only trying to move the top half of the gun, the steel portion, and so you have to pinch just the steel, like so. Another mistake we see is they try and grab the whole gun, and that does not work. So again, you're pinching just the steel, and make sure that we're doing this from under the gun. It is so important that you come from under the gun. Another common mistake we see is people with their left hand, after they've just run the slide, try to come over the gun. And so I'm gonna back up here so that she can pull away and demonstrate what would happen if she were to come over the gun. You can see there how easy it would be for her to point that gun at her hand, and that is not okay. So after she's racked the slide, she has to come under the gun with her non-shooting hand, pinch the steel, and start to pull that open. So that is one place where we see common mistakes, is at the front half of the gun. A common mistake we see at the rear of the gun is people try to put their shooting hand up too high, and there's no way that the steel can move now against the plastic frame because you're blocking the path of that slide. So it has to be down low so that the steel can move against the frame. So go ahead and move that back and forth just a little bit. There you can see by having her hand down low enough, that slide is able to move. And if she were to have her hand too high, it blocks the path of that, so she can't do it. The third common mistake we see is people try to hold on to the gun with their right hand. And so what they're doing is, just go ahead and rotate, there we go. They're trying to hold on to the gun with all three or all four of those fingers. And in reality, you have to crab claw with those fingers, keep them all together, and pull back on the slide with the tip of that finger. See how all of her fingers are there? None of her fingers are holding on to that gun. She can hold that gun with her right hand only. You can see that her left hand isn't even touching the gun, but she doesn't have a hold of the grip of the gun. So if you try to hold the grip of the gun, it won't work because your fingers become too weak. So go ahead and try and put just a couple of your fingers on the grip there and try and do it. You can see now that, go ahead and rotate the gun all the way towards me. She's trying to hold on to the gun, and it doesn't work because her hand isn't strong enough altogether. You also run the risk of sticking a finger into that trigger guard, putting yourself in danger by getting too close to that trigger. So all four fingers together, and we're pulling back on that slide using that crab claw technique. So that is how we do the press check. And again, the purpose of the press check is to confirm the status of our chamber, empty or full.